Olga pulled up to their apartment, her heart swollen with pain. She couldn't wait to see her friend Maggie. Her eyes were red and swollen from crying. She took a moment to compose herself before stepping out of the car and making her way to the front door. Maggie was more than a sister to her. She was always there to offer support and comfort in times of need. Searching through her purse, she couldn't find her key. She was so excited to go and surprise James that she forgot to carry her key. As she knocked on the door, her heart felt heavy with the weight of everything that had transpired that morning. She knew she couldn't bear to keep it all bottled up inside any longer. When Maggie opened the door and saw the distress written all over Olga's face, she immediately pulled her into a tight embrace. "Olga, what happened?" "You look like you've been through hell," Maggie said, concern evident in her voice. Olga's voice cracked as she tried to speak. "It's James, Maggie. He pushed me away like he never knew who I was. I found out he has a fiancée, and he's been lying to me all this time. When he told me not to go to his place without him knowing, it was not because he was busy with work. He didn't want me to find out about his fiancée, who is now living with him. Can you imagine, Maggie? He did that to me, looked me in the eyes and lied to me, letting me fall in love when he knew we had no future together." Maggie's eyes widened in shock. Sadness and disbelief filled her heart as she listened to Olga's story. She couldn't believe that James would do something so cruel to someone as kind-hearted as Olga. She hated seeing Olga cry. She loved her more than she loved herself. "I'm so sorry, Olga. I am speechless. You deserve so much better than that. Come inside. Let's talk about it." As they settled on the couch, Olga poured her heart out to Maggie, recounting every painful detail of her encounter with James. She felt a sense of relief wash over her as she let out all the emotions that had been building up inside her. Maggie listened intently, offering words of comfort and encouragement. "James did that? You mean it was all a lie from the beginning? Oh, great Lord, how come we never noticed anything?" It's okay, baby girl. You are strong, Olga. You will get through this. And remember, you're not alone. I'll be here for you every step of the way." Olga nodded, grateful for Maggie's unwavering support. Despite the pain she was feeling, she knew that with Maggie by her side, she would find the strength to move forward. "I don't want to see him again, Maggie, or hear anything from him. I know he will try to lie to me, so I don't want to give him a chance to fool me again." She let out her sadness and shouted, "I hate you, James. I hate everything that we had. I hate myself for being so stupid to love and trust you. Can someone tell me how it came to this? What did I do to deserve this horrible treatment from him? How did I end up like this?" Maggie listened to her, feeling the impeccable pain in her chest as her tears fell down her cheeks. "I can't believe this was what awaited us. And I hate myself for encouraging you to accept him. I thought he was a serious man who knew what he wanted. It turned out to be his game. Baby girl, we trusted the wrong person. That's why I told you not to sleep with him without protection." She wiped her tears with a new sense of determination. "So what's your plan? What about the baby, your job, and everything? Are you going to keep working at his company or what?" "Well, Maggie, I don't know yet, but the only thing I know for sure is that I have to leave the city and go far away. Somewhere he can't find me, even with his money and power. He will never find out about the baby. And Maggie, I want you to promise me that you will never disclose my whereabouts or that I am pregnant with his baby to anyone. It should only be between us, not even Grandma. I promise you, baby girl. Don't worry. So when are you planning to relocate?" "Maggie, I have to do it as soon as possible. Tomorrow I will submit my resignation letter, then leave the next day." Maggie was heartbroken. Till now, she couldn't understand that the man she encouraged her friend to accept turned out to be a complete liar. She paused for a moment, choosing the right words. "Olga, don't get me wrong, but I think you need to hear him at least. Because till now, I don't think the same James that loved you and protected us more than once is the same James that hurts you like this. Can you at least ask him why he did that?" Maggie, why do you want to hear from him? He has lied to me the whole year we have been together. What more lies do you need to accept reality? Olga, please. I didn't mean to offend you. But baby girl, remember, I told you I would never forgive anyone who hurt you. But James had saved us many times. I mean, it seemed real. He loved you so much. Till now, I couldn't believe he would hurt you. Besides, you're not the only one who was fooled. We all are. At least I want to know what he gained from doing this. Olga understood her and realized she also has a lot of questions that she wants to ask James before she leaves the city. Okay, Maggie. Tomorrow before I leave the office, I will confront him about everything. But I would never forgive him or tell him about the baby, especially now that he's getting married. I also need to know what he gained by breaking my heart. As they talked late into the night, Olga felt a glimmer of hope begin to stir within her. She knew that the road ahead would be difficult, but she also knew that she was capable of overcoming any obstacle that came her way. With Maggie's friendship and support, Olga knew that she would emerge from this heartbreak stronger than ever before. And as she finally allowed herself to drift off to sleep, she felt a sense of peace wash over her, knowing that no matter what the future held, she would always have Maggie by her side. Right? He inquired, motioning for her to take a seat. Olga settled into the chair opposite Mr. Reynolds, her hands trembling slightly. I'm afraid not, Mr. Reynolds, she began, her voice wavering. I've come to resign because I can no longer continue working here. Mr. Reynolds furrowed his brow, leaning forward slightly. Is there something specific that's prompted this decision? He asked gently. Olga hesitated, grappling with her emotions. It's personal, she finally admitted, her gaze dropping to her lap. I've realized that I need to prioritize my well-being and make some changes in my life. Mr. Reynolds nodded understandingly, his expression sympathetic. I see, he murmured. Well, while I'm saddened to hear that you'll be leaving us, Olga, I want you to know that your health and happiness are important to us. If there's anything we can do to support you during this time, please don't hesitate to let us know. Tears welled up in Olga's eyes as she nodded gratefully. Thank you, Mr. Reynolds, she whispered. I appreciate your kindness. As Olga stood to leave the HR office, Mr. Reynolds reached out and placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Take care of yourself, Olga, he said softly. And remember, you'll always have a place here at Hawkins Corporation if you ever decide to return. With a heavy heart, Olga forced a small smile and nodded. Thank you, she murmured before turning and making her way out of the office. She knew that saying goodbye to her colleagues would be difficult, but she also knew that she was making the right decision for herself and her future. Nick saw Olga heading out, wiping her tears. He was stunned and wanted to know what happened and why she was leaving the HR office crying. He went directly to the HR office. The HR manager, on seeing Nick, stood up to greet him. Morning, Mr. Nick. How may I assist you? Nick, with a questioning look, approached him. Why was that girl Olga crying? What did you do to her? Sir, you think I am the reason she's crying? She was here to hand over her resignation letter. Nick wasn't expecting that kind of news. What? A resignation letter? Why would she do that? She was happy last time when she received an award for the best employee of the year. Why would she want to resign? Mr. Reynolds didn't know what else to say, so he chose to tell him what Olga told him. I thought the same, but clearly she has her personal reasons. That's what she told me. Nick had to tell James this information as soon as possible. He hurried to the CEO's office, hoping to find James there. He knocked on the door and didn't wait for James to let him in. He was his personal secretary, and sometimes a personal advisor, so there was no need for formalities, especially in such a hurry. But when he entered the office, he was surprised to find James sitting in his office, kissing his fiancée, Jocelyn. James was shocked to see Nick in such a hurry. Nick, Don't you know that you have to knock before entering my office? What's the matter? You seem like you saw a ghost. Nick couldn't raise the issue of Orga in front of James's fiancée. Sir, whatever it is, it can wait. We will talk when you're free. I will head back. Without wasting another second, he went out. A realization coming to his mind that Orga might have found out about Jocelyn. He had to meet her before she left. He had loved Orga the first day he saw her, but he couldn't court her because James was dating her. He thought that James was serious about her. He was starting to get worried that Orga must have been broken by the sudden news of James's fiancée. Orga reached her department office. Her team had been nothing but supportive and loving. She was sure she would miss every one of them. She looked at everyone, busy with morning work. John was an example of a good team leader. Owen, the guy who always had a crush on her. Wilson, the shy guy of the team. Jackson, the big mouth. And Sam, the hot-tempered. She has had a lot of memories with them. John saw that Orga was lost in thought, unaware of what had brought her today, and started ordering her around. Orga, you came late. Now you're standing as if you had nothing to do. Come on, bring me the draft of the report. Orga could not hear. She was still lost in her thoughts. John realized that Orga was somewhere else. He shouted, taking everyone's attention in the room and bringing Orga back to thinking. Orga, why on earth are you thinking? Get to work. Orga, realizing that she had been standing in the doorway for a while, cleared her throat and started, My dearest team, I have something important to tell you. Can I take a minute of your time? I won't take long. Everyone gathered around her, and Jackson could not help but talk to ease the tension. Well, this seems more serious than ever. I am sure I have done nothing wrong. The team could not help but chuckle. Orga managed a small smile at Jackson's attempt to lighten the mood, grateful for the camaraderie of her team. Taking a deep breath, she began. As some of you may have already heard, I've made the difficult decision to resign from my position here at Hawkins Corporation. The room fell silent as her teammates exchanged puzzled glances, their expressions shifting from amusement to concern. Owen spoke up first, his voice tinged with sadness. Orga, why? You're one of the best members of this team. We can't imagine this place without you. Orga felt a lump form in her throat as she struggled to find the right words. It's complicated, she admitted, her eyes welling up with tears. There are personal reasons behind my decision, reasons that I can't fully explain right now. John stepped forward, his expression serious. Orga, if there's anything we can do to support you, please don't hesitate to ask, he said firmly, his tone leaving no room for argument. Orga nodded gratefully, touched by the outpouring of support from her colleagues. Thank you, John, she replied softly. And thank you to all of you for being such amazing teammates. You've made my time here unforgettable. As Orga made her rounds, saying goodbye to each member of her team, she couldn't help but feel a pang of sadness at the thought of leaving them behind. But deep down, she knew that she was making the right decision for herself and her unborn child. As she headed towards the exit, her heart heavy with emotion, Orga couldn't shake the feeling that her life was about to change in ways she couldn't even begin to imagine. But for now, all she could do was take one step at a time and trust that everything would eventually fall into place. The next thing she had to do was confront James before leaving the city, seeking closure to the tumultuous chapter of her life that he had orchestrated.